I see about something that affects society, if we talk about like old school like art movements and stuff, what I learned in like my design college, right? See how a lot of art movements like actually change society, the arts and crafts movement and stuff. It started the concept of companies and branding, and it like we still use those concepts in our daily life. We still use those things they invented then. The art deco movement, like it was after the industrial revolution, so like it started individuality, like because everyone was getting the same factory produced like products.
Yeah.
And arts and craft was like, hey, like this is like this cool unique product made by this craftsman that only like you can have, but from this company, like it's cool, like you don't have to have the same boring product from the factory that everyone does. You can like be different. So I was like, oh cool, like let's take it. And like a lot of old movements did change like society in a way, right? Like that you see that. But that, and even a lot of new things do change society. But if you talk about manga as an art form, like it is popular, of course a lot of people know it, but I wouldn't say it has impacted society in a huge way so far, at least like what I've not, like at least what you see and you hear. Because if something does impact society, or like you notice it, it's big, everyone's
Like, what do you
talking
mean by
about it and
society as
stuff.
such? Like, do you mean like in the way it just changed the lifestyle of many people across countries, or is it like
No, it changes people's thinking, their way of living, what they like, don't like a lot of stuff like that, right?
so?
Like when
Yeah, I
something
can
impacts
understand
society.
that, because the one major problem with manga is that people see it as cartoons. People see it as like
In
people have grown
India,
up with
in India, a
cartoons.
lot of people do,
Yeah,
and mostly
I don't even
people
think just
older than
India,
us,
right? Like
like our
across
previous
Europe
generation.
and like across the world, any adult over 40 will just look at it and be like, it's cartoon.
Not
Children's
It's
necessarily.
children shit.
There are a
No,
lot
but
of that
yeah,
manga
there
that
are
have
There are a
changed
lot, but
a lot of
most
perceptions.
but the viewership for manga and anime is mostly people who are under the age of 30, or
I wouldn't say
early
that,
30s.
Adi, because like there are lots of people who watch good animation outside. Like there's animated content apart from anime all around the world that's really good that people watch and enjoy. And not only kids, like
No, but
adults,
like
like
enough to
adult-themed
change that
anime.
stereotype. Enough to change that stereotype.
Yeah.
That because the only way you get something to impact society is if it goes through someone. If it goes through some government, country's government. Some country's government is like, oh, okay, it actually does
Not
impact.
necessarily. You don't need to go through the government to impact society. I don't
Adi,
think
do you
so.
know about the Minecraft library?
The Minecraft library.
I don't.
Yeah, a lot of researchers and a lot of people basically built an entire Minecraft library
Oh, I
with
remember this.
actual
Yeah, I know.
documents and stories and journalists' work put inside the library. And this is essentially a way for people who do not have access to such stuff in their countries, where it's banned by the government, can find whatever information they want without having to use a VPN, without having to worry about getting caught, because there is no way to actually figure out if you're the one in the Minecraft server accessing the library. So your government usually ends up being a detriment to something changing society rather than helping out.
I don't think
Yeah, no,
governments are
my
made
point
to
exactly,
want
right?
to like. Governments don't want to change. Like governments, like they figure out what works and they're like, okay, let's keep doing it
let's
because
run with
it's
it.
working for us. Like they don't want to have that drastic change in the way you're saying. Of course, they keep changing, but in their way, like like this works better. Let's do it. Like they're not gonna
I'm
do
saying
like
that
this drastic change when
if
things
something
get.
like manga has to have a foothold in society, then they have to be the ones willing to accept it, right? Wouldn't it be the
Not
case?
really. No, it's the people who always. I don't think governments come into play at all ever. I don't think
In
they ever
this
have
era,
actually.
maybe.
Like, dude, if Record of Ragnarok was actually like a very good manga, do you think any of us would have stopped reading it because the government was like, yeah, you don't watch this shit, is banned? We're gonna be like, yeah, fuck you, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna watch it because I like it.
Exactly. You still watch what you want. Like they can't, and they don't decide what what's popular and what's not. In the end, it's the people who decide and it's the people who ask for it. That's why things get here. Like even when like Tenki no Ko came to India, right? It wasn't the government who was like, hey, anime film, hey guy, come here. It was the people who asked for it. That's why they came here. Like they actually have been asking for it for a long time, right? So that's why it
And the
actually came.
Boku
So it's the
movie,
people who made
what
that
is it,
happen.
Two Heroes, something?
Yeah, the Boku movie. Yes. I don't know the name, but yeah, that one. We saw
Two Heroes.
posters in our theaters. Like you could see posters actually there, and it's the people who asked for that. It's not the government. They don't give a shit. They don't
Okay,
even know
then,
what
yeah.
it is probably.
I guess maybe with a generation change it will happen. Maybe we are just like, if our generation does grow older, then we'll probably incorporate manga and anime more into our lives, and then
Yeah, but I
maybe
feel
who
like
knows?
manga and anime
It's
are
not
already
about
very
that.
incorporated into life. It maybe
They
not
are
to the
incorporated.
level of, I don't know, Disney, but it definitely
But is it to the
like,
level of changing society?
yeah, I think it definitely is. Like, okay, you know what? Let's imagine what manga has done just from a perspective of Japan, okay? Before that, Japan was not known for being the best country. Okay, Japan was known for a lot of bad shit, not much good shit. Okay, people were not happy with Japan around the world.
Hey, you're saying before manga? No. Before,
I'm saying
Japan
long-
was still known for stuff
Like,
before manga.
what did-
Are you saying when they were closed off, like in the old, like, you know,
I'm
during
I'm
the war
saying,
and
like in the
before the
good old
war
yeah,
and
I'm
40s,
stuff?
if you
saying,
will.
yeah, I'm the good old 40s, so to speak. Yes.
Oh, so you're seeing like really old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought you were talking. Okay. Huh.
I'm
Continue.
sorry, you do realize that the 40s aren't like that old, right? It's one
they are really
generation
old.
ago, basically.
80 years.
It is boomer.
My God. But yeah, basically, from with manga alone, look at the number of people all around the world who just can't get enough of Japan, who just can't.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it changed the entire world's perspective of the country, not only because the stories were good, but because like people were like, holy shit, there's such cool shit coming out of Japan. Look at their life over there. Like, dude, they have
Yeah.
vending machines for all this shit. Dude, look at that. That guy just walked into a 7-Eleven and bought something. And then
Yeah.
people probably were like, you know what, that can't be true, right? Or like, okay. And then these YouTubers started going to Japan and eating shit all the time, and we're like, fuck it, I want to go there and eat that shit. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. No, it did popularize Japan. Yeah, that is true. It did make a, contributed a lot to
yeah.
people's interest in Japan for sure.
But
Yeah, I agree
the
with that.
so-called Japanophile community is still very small, smaller in
immense.
comparison.
No,
Yeah,
everybody has
No,
heard
there
of
are
something
Japan-
in
in
Japan.
comparison to like what I would say normal people, like someone would be more in
What
tune
is
with
a
the local
normal
culture rather
person?
than Japan's
No, there are
culture.
lots of people who love like Japan and love traveling to a new place who don't also watch manga. So like they exist already. It's not only.
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
what is
it's
a
not only
normal
people who
person,
read-
Nodi? I'm curious.
Yeah,
Someone in
normal
tune with
people also exist.
their own culture, or like a local culture rather than Japan's culture.
Why is that normal and liking some other culture abnormal?
I don't know. Most people
Yeah.
don't tend to look outside and like try to like another country's cultures. They just like their own.
That's
in
not
the
true.
case.
There are lots of places you want to go to, but you haven't been introduced to them through like manga or something, right? But you still want to go there because you're interested. It's the same thing.
That's true.
And a lot of people are interested. Like nowadays in the 21st century, because of like globalization, all that stuff. So many people are traveling, even because of like Instagram and stuff. You see the amount of people that have started traveling and exploring. It's way more than before. Like you see people going to all these spots and taking photos and going here and there. Like people are traveling a lot more than they used to in the past now. And like I'm talking about before COVID, of course. Yeah, people were traveling like crazy. Like even you could see on the internet there were so many new channels like this coming up. Like, hey, I'm going here, there. Like
a lot of the YouTubers and the travel Instagrammers still were doing a lot of content.
yeah, they were still doing but everyone's traveling now. Everyone's going to new places. So like it's people are doing it much more. But I'm saying
like, have you never met someone who had some, I don't know, like, their Instagram profile say some wanderlust or something, and they're like, oh, I want
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah, I mean, you come
Nomad
across
and
those
shit.
dime a dozen, but then
yeah, like so
Yeah, that's everybody.
everyone's-
Everybody
yeah,
wants to
it's-
go. There's nobody
I
I've met in my
suppose.
life who hasn't wanted to go to another country. Also, Japan. Everybody wants to go to Japan. No,
Everybody wants to go
it
to
doesn't
Japan.
have to be
Like,
but then
because
if
they're
you're-
manga fans. They just love the country. They just love the
yeah, they
hype
love.
around it because they've heard
It doesn't
so
have
much.
to be about anime or D. They just
But
love the
see,
country.
again, you hear stories like the one Sid said about how he met Indians in Portugal, and then the Indians over there
Can
kind
you
of
not
huddled up
give
among those.
information about my like personal life without like asking
Yes,
me, like,
because we are going to be tracking down those Indians from the one time you met them.
Hey guys, I really like your WhatsApp.
What,
But yeah,
what
point
are
being,
the
they were just-
chances that
No.
Forrest Dan is actually one of the people Sid was talking to in Portugal?
What's up, Forrest Dan?
He's not here.
How's
But still.
how's
No one is here.
Braganza? I know, but anyways, no, Odi, like I'll give your point in a more general term, but like see, I've met a lot of people, and I've heard stories like there are lots of people who leave their country and they go out and they live in bubbles, like they live in their own community but outside. Like they don't ever become part of the society over there. They're still living in their own bubble.
Like a family audio.
And that does happen a lot. Yeah, and that does happen a lot because, like, see, most people, like, not most people, I would say there are people I've met who are like afraid, because as humans we are always like, what we know is comfortable, what we like, the unknown is scary and the known is comfortable. Like that's how humans have been behaving, right? That's why we form communities and whatnot, right? Us versus them thing again. So when you go somewhere and you find you find people who are similar to the place you live in, most people don't want to, like, most people are comfortable with what they know. They're like, okay, I'm comfortable with this kind of food, these kind of people talking like this, so I'm going to stay. It's a safe place for me. Like, what they know is comfortable. But like, for example, someone like me and many other people, like thousands, millions of them, the unknown is more exciting. Like the same thing is boring to them and the unknown is more exciting. So for those kind of people, they go out, they don't stay in that bubble.
Yeah.
So it's basically how you feel about exploring and going. Like if you're comfortable here, like I've heard many people tell me like, hey, how do you just like go to like another country alone and live there? Like I'm so scared, I would never do that. And for me, I'm like, yeah, for me that's exciting because I'm tired of the same shit, my same life again and again. So I want something new. So it just depends on perspective. Like there are people who do both, I will say. The bubble thing you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like in time, as the generations go by, that mentality will change, hopefully. Like you said, that there are lots of people right now who like to stay in their bubble, and there are lots of people who want to explore the unknown.
Yeah.
But then as far as manga is concerned,
yeah,
I feel like it will just be a matter of time till manga will become a very normal aspect of life. It's still a very interesting aspect of life because many people still want to explore it and see what all it has to offer.
I'd say manga is pretty normal in our lives as it
in
is
our
right
lives, but we are talking about like a
I'm talking
society's
about
perspective.
life. Yeah, I'm talking about society in general. Okay, let me give you an example. We met for Sid's body modification and for my camera, this thing, right? And while walking past random stores when we were going and looking for something to eat, we weren't even looking for these people. We just happened to see 3 different people wearing different weeb stuff.
Exactly, we did.
And I was walking around my neighborhood reading manga, and someone recognized that I was reading manga and was like, hey, what are you reading? I like this, and I
see, that's surprising.
I ended up talking
that
to
is
that
surprising
person.
in Bruce's neighborhood.
Yeah. It's like a common thing. Everybody knows anime. Everybody watches anime. Just that the problem, I think the problem is that the people who are averse to anime think are either like my sister, who don't like animated content in general because she thinks it's for kids.
Yeah, for kids.
Or 2, the people who've heard of how anime basically is for degenerates. And I think that's what as we want to. No, it is wrong. That's what we want to change. We want to talk about the power of stories generally, which comes out. It doesn't have to be a degenerate thing. It's an actual medium to spread ideas.
Yeah, see, I agree with that point. The people the thing is, if there's good anime, like people who they like it. But if someone hears something bad about anime, they're like, nah, I don't like that shit. But if you see another form, like if you see comics or movies or even TV shows, there are thousands of shit movies and TV shows, and you hear about them, but people still watch the good ones. They're not like, I'm never going to watch movies because there are like shit movies out there. I'm never going to TV shows because there's like a shit TV show, right? They've heard of. But with anime, it's like, yeah, this shit is cringe, I am not going to watch anime. That's how they treat it. They're not going to be like, oh, there's shit anime, but I'm going to watch the good shit. They don't say that, right?
Yeah, also
that's what
for
Bruce
Christ's sake,
about.